Here we are starting with disc 3. Now it's been a few days now since I've worked on this cast drawing because I've been teaching, and I've been doing a lot of drawing while I was teaching, so I should come back to this with a fresh perspective, and that's a good thing. So I noticed like first thing right off the bat that I feel like this is getting like a little dark, and I'm gonna give this thing a try. Someone who's a member of Drawing Tutorials Online, Andy Redfern from the United Kingdom, sent me this eraser pencil, and I'm going to give it a shot. And so basically, I've got a lot going on over here in these abs, and I feel that they are a little too dark, so I'm just going to kind of pull out just like a touch, and I don't know how much I'm going to use this, because I've never used it before, and I don't know if I want to experiment on an actual drawing that I'm going to use for a DVD, but let's just try it a little bit right over here at least. I don't think it can hurt much. So basically, the brush thing is great, and I use that, and I've really got this beautiful soft tone. So now what my job is to kind of pull out. Let's just test that. That worked okay. I kind of dig that. I like the kneaded eraser better, but that's actually a very cool tool. So I'm going to try now a little bit with my kneaded eraser. And the thing with the kneaded eraser is that you can't really press down as hard as what I just did with that particular eraser pencil tool. So I'm just going to this is where it's going to get a little tedious, and I'm going to have to, do this in layers. But again, when you do it in the layers, something like magical happens. Like it's almost like I don't know if you're familiar with Maxfield Parrish, but he used to work in layers. He'd have like several paintings going at once. So he'd do like one layer, varnish, let it dry, varnish it, and then paint like another layer. And it's almost like you can look into the painting. And so there's something beautiful. Again, this has to be like part of your style, but there's something beautiful when you can look into the layers of like your artwork, and you can kind of see so much depth that way versus just like one line drawing. And it's just a whole different type of look and feel. And I'm a big believer in things that take time. I think things that take time are really beautiful, and you don't always want to rush everything. I mean, there's a time and a place for doing long stuff, and there's a time and a place for doing short stuff. All of my classes that I was teaching on Friday and Saturday, we had some great models, and I felt like I needed to draw a little bit in between teaching to keep myself fresh, and so that I just did like some really quick stuff. Like the longest drawing that I did in there was maybe 15 minutes. I mean, I drew for 20 minutes at a time. Most of the time was 15 minutes. And you get a lot out of doing that. If you can do that like short stuff, the 15-minute stuff, it really helps this like long stuff because it keeps you fresh. And the problem sometimes with doing the long stuff is that you tend to get too like timid with your drawings, and you tend to play it safe because you're just trying to make things perfect, and that's not always a good habit to fall into. You sometimes just want to do like the short stuff and plow it in and just keep yourself fresh and current with doing some like quick stuff and not worrying about like making mistakes. That was like my big theme on Friday with my undergraduate class. We haven't drawn it from life in a while. We've been working on big projects. And so I told them all, I'm like, listen, you just got to kind of like let your ego go. Do not worry about how this drawing looks, and just make it happen. Just put like the pencil down on the paper and let the cards fall where they may. If the drawing looks bad, well, no one's going to judge you. It's just kind of getting your eye-hand coordination back up to speed. And I try to do the same thing. I mean, some of the drawings I did I really liked, and some of the drawings I did I did not like. So I didn't really care. Like, I'm like, oh God, what are the students going to think of me? I did like a really lousy drawing. But you've just got to plow through those drawings to get to the good ones. And that's just process. That's really what it's all about. You don't always want to go. This is more about teaching this drawing. And yes, I would like a nice result. But the process, I'm trying to enjoy the process too. of just, getting in here and doing all this like light stuff. So I already like the way the abs look much better. Now what I've got to take into consideration is this is going to be my lightest light right over here. This can't be as light as that, but I'm going to pull out and make it light just because I know when I go back into this with my brush to blend it, it's going to dirty it up again. So that's like that whole layering thing, and it's just something that you want to try at home. So I'm actually going with the lay of the land in some of these, and the cast statue is extremely smooth, so I don't want to make too much like of a rough texture, although that rough texture is kind of looking neat. And so when I look at this now, like I really went dark with this when I was working on it last week. When I look at this is really dark on my drawing, and now I got a whole new fresh eye, fresh perspective, and I can see what I don't like and what's getting a little heavy-handed. So just slowly but surely with this eraser, pull out. This is really tedious, really delicate. Again, I'm doing this for you. I mean, if you just watched disc 1 and disc 2, and this might be too tedious for you, you're going to get a lot out of disc 1 and disc 2, because that's kind of like the laying in process. This is more a chapter on refining, and for those of you who really want to see how I take it to the next level, well, this is how I kind of bring it to the next level. And it's been quite some time since I've done a drawing like this. I mean, the last detailed drawing that I did, I believe, was the long portrait drawing on the website. But I haven't really done something like this in a very long time, so I'm really going to try to push it and see how far I can take this cast drawing in terms of like doing the realistic thing. Alright, so now with the thing with these abs is they can be like a quicksand area in the drawing. Like I can really overwork them, and all these shapes can get like really strange looking. This is just called the pulling out process. You're pulling out lights, and it's a different way of drawing, and it's already looking very three-dimensional to me. Like I'm kind of really digging the way that it's looking. Now you could also just try to do this with the pencil, but I'm trying to go for, remember what I said on the first DVD way back when, I'm really trying to go for more of a soft quality and not necessarily like a really sharp, slick quality like I did with the portrait drawing, long portrait drawing. Alright, so we're going to take a little break. We'll be right back.